told by the paediatrician who came in after probably about half an hour, as I say, after he was born. He basically examined Cathal, pointed out some of the features associated with Down syndrome, and said that he had probably a 90% chance of, as he termed it, Mongolism, was what he said at the time. I was at the table behind the curtain from Sylvain at the time. So Sylvain might have overheard it. She did, but she wasn't told directly. And the paediatrician left. So I was kind of left with Cathal. Had to go back to Sylvain and sat down. Thought, okay, how do I tell Sylvain? So it was pretty tough at the time. The paediatrician came in probably 10 minutes later. I was still trying to figure out really what am I going to tell Sylvain. All the nurses were still around, kind of cleaning up Sylvain because she had just given birth. He came back in. Obviously, I think when the nurses probably saw I was kind of struggling, and so the paediatrician came in and basically repeated what he had said to myself, and that's pretty much how we found out. Like a lot of people, you only really start looking into these things when it directly affects you. So that's pretty much what we did. We ended up looking at the internet pretty much probably that night or the night afterwards. That's where we got our information from. Absolutely. I mean, from it'd be someone to go to if you had questions and could give you the answers, maybe help with your entitlements, and truly the general day-to-day being with health of the baby and what to look for. And I mean, it would have made such a vast difference. I would have thought. Well, I mean, it was with Cathal. Cathal had a serious heart defect, so we were kind of taken away from the fact that he had Down syndrome, and really we're focusing more, I suppose, at the time on his heart, because he had an operation when he was 6 weeks old and another operation when he was a year old. So there's a lot of our thoughts went into that more so, and it kind of distracted us somewhat, I suppose, from the Down syndrome. And I don't know if it helped or not. I don't know. Maybe if a parent who didn't have that kind of, I'm trying to think of maybe the advantage of it. But if a parent didn't have that kind of on top of them at the time, maybe they would be possibly get quite down about it, I'd imagine, in a way, because it's something that you build up for this amazing event, and it's different. Well, there was a social worker in Crumlin Hospital where we were with Cathal while he was getting his heart looked at. She helped out with entitlements, and to be honest, we kind of had that looked after ourselves already at the time. Beyond that, there wasn't a great deal. Down Syndrome Ireland is there. You register, you can get onto the forums, get some good information that way. But really, it's a lot of it. You kind of have to look for it yourself, more than someone kind of coming to you and saying, "Here you go. These are the bits and pieces you need."